Good morning. Today we'll cover two aspects about it, that is food and feed protein and also biopolymer. So far we have seen a number of different ways of creating biorefineries, different technologies. So we did not discuss range of different technologies, but we focused on those which you are familiar with and which you have seen as a demonstration here. So we'll start with the most topical topic now, which is feed of food proteins. So what we are going to cover is what do we really mean by proteins, and how blue circular economy contributes to alternative protein and how it can be used in different applications. So before we go into the details of blue circular economy, so this just shows what are different types of protein. First one, protein rich food. All the food products which contain higher amount of protein. For example, you have whether sourced from animal, seafoods or pulses, they all are known for good sources of protein. Second terminology what we have discussed as well as you are aware of is protein concentrates. We did discuss about different percentages of protein, mainly either from plant proteins like soya protein, milk protein concentrate, whey protein isolate, seafood proteins or protein derived from fish. Protein isolates, that is again a concentrated form of protein, much purer form of protein. Again it could be sourced from plant, dairy or marine. Or protein hydrosolate, which is produced by breaking down the protein into peptides, polypeptides or protein concentrate. So it gives some example. Cricket flour, that is insect protein, we are aware of it, lot of focus is being shifted towards insects. So one of them is cricket, that is how many of you know this cricket? Figure is correct, yeah, or black soldier fly. So those are the insects, somehow is processed, they are grown on some biomass. When they grow, they are dried and they are milled to obtain proteins. So that is insect protein. Then animal, that is again beef jerky, which is again consumed mainly by the people who look for instant source of protein, for mainly for sports person. Chicken and beef steak. So these are all animal origin protein and a new source of protein. So the differences between isolate, concentrates and hydrosolate is nearly about with the percentages. So there is no clear cut boundary what differentiates between hydrosolates and concentrates. So technically it could be 60 to 80%, more than 90% is protein isolates and almost 99%, 95% will be protein hydrosolate. So for protein concentration, it depends upon the type of protein, whether it is a rubisco when it comes to duckweed, or alkaline extracted protein from seafood, that is fish, that you have seen how it can be easily extracted, and hydrosolate by using any specific enzyme. Can anybody name one or two enzymes where we can use it for obtaining protein hydrosolate? Which enzyme we can use to get protein hydrosolates? Like, yeah.
Sir, peptides which break the protein into different amino acids.
Yeah, yeah, it's all can be classified as a proteases, yeah, and then can be a specific protein, endopeptidases, exopeptidases, to breaking which terminal peptide they break.
Yes.
But broadly, papain.
Yes, papain.
Neutral pH. You have alkaline pH1 alkalase,
Yes.
or you have microbial sources of enzyme which breaks the protein into specific subunits. But the reason why we use protein hydrosolate, because certain protein is
Hydrolytic
easy.
enzyme.
Sorry, yeah.
In hydrosolate we use hydrolytic enzyme. That's protein will be degraded into different amino acids.
True, that depends upon degree of hydrolysis.
Yes.
So mainly in case of improving the protein recovery, once you extract it from alkali and then if you use a protease enzyme, it can also break certain protein amino acid which is bounding with the starch or with your other biomasses to separate the protein. Yeah, so that's also the reason why we use enzyme to extract a protein. Yeah, So, that will become a mixture of protein with different molecular weight. There will be some amino acids, some peptides, and there will be some broken proteins. Yeah? And if you continue that reaction, it will leave it to the peptides or only to amino acids. That is what you mentioned about different peptidases. And if you are looking for a very, very specific enzyme, that specific enzyme will produce a specific type of peptide for a specific application. Yeah? So, that is one. So, we did cover briefly about protein juggernaut, first generation, second generation, as this is the easiest way to explain when it comes to the phones. Yeah? First generation, making phone calls. Second generation based on plants, that is pork, beef, lamb, poultry, all these meat based one were considered as first generation, and you take this one as an in European context. Yeah? Second generation, cereal, pulses and oil seeds, whereas in Asian subcontinent, Indian subcontinent, this could be a first generation. Yeah? Because we are mainly reliant on plant proteins. And insect and microbials, cricket, yeast, micro and macroalgae is third generation. Yeah? Because these were not mainly used as a source of protein. Mainly used was meat and pulses. Now, fourth generation, that is again in vitro cultured meat, that is lab grown meat, that is all going to be fourth generation. So, Mike.
Sir, nowadays I just listened at the protein based meat, how it will be formed?
Protein
based meat. Just like animal meats. Yeah.
Yeah. So, that is good question, and it will coming in fourth or fifth slide, you will see how we create alternative meat. So, basically what it is done is normally you take any plant protein, yeah, and try to functionalize it the way it looks like a meat. It is mainly for those who are meat eaters, yeah, and they are scared that they should not convert completely into vegetarian. So, they take it as a texturized protein. You would have heard about texturized vegetable proteins. Yeah? Texturized, that means any protein, plant protein can be made into fibrous protein, so that it mimics like a meat. So, vegan fish product, vegan meat product, and Singapore there are certain restaurants where you go and order any food product, everything made up of plant protein and looks like all the texture and everything related to meat. Yeah? So, that is the way plant protein can be converted into meat like texture, not exactly meat, but meat like texture, and origin is plant. Yeah? I will show you how we create by using different extrusion technique. And then if you look at World Economic Forum, this particular report is freely available, and it talks about what are the drivers of protein, why do we look for new sources of protein. You know, you have seen that every half of researchers in well, almost everybody involved in food research, at least 10 to 15% population is involved in alternative protein. Yeah? Why do we need alternative protein? What are the sources of alternative proteins? All these are the bigger questions. That is the reason why again we started looking into seafood side of it, or even alternative one, because these could be another alternative for plant based meat, because diet is now shifting from animal to plant. One of the reason is of the climate impact of meat production. Yeah? Whether it is a reality or it is a hype, I leave it on to you guys, because that is not the forum to discuss those, because these are all debatable topic. Yeah? Land based meat, that means open grazing versus the animal which are grown into beef production, which is happening inside the houses. Yeah? Free range chicken versus caged chicken. Yeah? Which one is better? So, these are all the debates are there, because in Ireland or New Zealand, meat production system is open grazing. The animals are left in a big farm. That is the agriculture. Agriculture does not mean you have a land, you only grow crops. Agriculture also includes animal husbandry, livestock production, and different food purposes. Yeah? Now, if you look at the emission intensity, this is what one of the reason why we are also thinking why people are moving from meat towards alternative plant. Yeah, and you will see some of the statements here coming from different reports. So, beef is having highest amount of emissions to produce per kg of meat. So, this is cultured meat, mycoprotein is microbial, chickpea, algae, pork, tofu, pea, jackfruit, beans, insects, wheat, nuts. So, this is basically a standard life cycle assessment method to do and to see how much is having or what ingredient is having more impact on environment. So, this cannot be taken as it always algae will have higher CO2 emissions compared to tofu or pea. It is just based on the type of method and type of product used. So, in order to compare which one is emitting more CO2, you have to develop life cycle assessment model and then to see the real impact on environment. So, this is just the way of classifying the protein, which makes things easy to understand. This is not scientific basis of asking for first generation, second generation or third generation. Yeah. Now, narrative around alternative protein, take it as 3G or 4G, which one is better? Supportive. Food contains alternative protein, lives you healthier life. These all are coming from media and other places, the way it's been promoted at different point of time, whether it's a trade magazine, scientific magazine or non-scientific, non-technical one. Alternative protein are free of risk of food poisoning, yeah, or contaminants. Product based on alternative protein tastes excellent, yeah. There used to be an ad, isko laga dala to life jhinga lala, right? What was the advertisement for? Tata Sky, right? So, it's a similar way, if you will see there are different advertisement. Another one, better for environment, yeah. Do not harm animal. Obviously, when you are getting a protein, yeah, if you are not killing an animal and if you are eating a plant, you are not harming animals, yeah. That is another narrative. Food security by releasing land currently used to grow animal feed for production of human food. So, certain places animals are grown, for example, beef or pork for animal meat, yeah. So, beef or animal meat when they are grown and the land is used to grow that animal, yeah, and they are slaughtered for meat purposes. So, this is what it means, that you release a land which is used to rear animals. Do not think what the way animals are grown here, yeah. Animals are tied to a specific farm or a place and they are fed in. Whereas in Europe and other places, animals are moving around in a field, the large acreage of land where they eat the grass, yeah, natural grass, and then only in night time they come back to the room, or out of 365 days, almost 150 to 150 days or 200 days they are outside, yeah. That is open cultivation, grass fed versus grain fed. You would have seen that comparison, that is grass fed, that means left it in open farm to eat grass, or grain fed, that means you make a feed and feed it to animal, yeah. That is the difference, whether grass fed is good or grain fed is good. Lot of research is being going on to say that grass fed is better or grain fed. Now, caution, alternative protein product will always play a minor role in global food system. That is one argument. Whatever we do, alternative protein will not replace traditional proteins, yeah. Alternative protein products are not real food. These are again warnings, and all these things are coming from World Economic Forum report produced by group of scientists led by University of Oxford. Lot of statement you can agree or you can disagree, yeah. Alternative protein products are not as good as real thing. Livestock is more than a food, yeah. So, this whole narrative was against animal food versus non-animal origin food, yeah. So, it also depends upon which side of the coin you are sitting, yeah. Either you be unbiased, yeah, talk whether meat is good or plant is good, or if you are completely non-vegetarian, you do not eat anything from the plant, then you will be biased on one side of the argument, Another side, if you are complete vegetarian, you will say meat is not good. Yeah. So, we propose both the side. Being a scientist, you have to come with a scientific fact, not narrative fact. Yeah. You would have seen lot of debates are there. You know, people, they take one side and they just stick to it. Yeah. And rationality is missing from every debates. Yeah. My line of argument is, everybody turns vegetarian. Yeah. What happens to the other side? Yeah. So, you can't change the eating habit. People, they have different tastes, different choices. Now, drivers for alternative proteins. Yeah. 1, movement of consumer from vegetarian, vegan and flexitarians. Have you heard this word flexitarian? Flexible. Vegan, everything vegetarian. Yeah. No dairy, nothing, no animal origin. Vegetarian is mixed, vegetarian plus dairy. Yeah. Less input cost, water, energy. To produce a plant protein, we need less energy compared to meat, because to produce 1 kg of animal meat, animal has to consume at least 50 kg of grass, yeah, or 50 kgs of grain. And to produce 50 kg of grain, you know how much inputs are required. Don't take it exactly 50 kg, but that's the way the things are calculated. Yeah. Muscle building and maintenance, land requirement, weight loss and management. That means if you eat a plant based food, you lose weight. Yeah. Reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. That means if you are eating plant based food, there is a reduction in greenhouse gases, because you grow more plants and they are the one which sequester CO2. Bold commercial claims about the environmental sustainability. Yeah. I make word bold commercial claims. So, Meet the Future series, Alternative Protein, World Economic Forum. This is the report, is a white paper document which is available online. The moment you just put this one into Google, you will find all those narrative texts. Yeah. It's very interesting. It's both the sides are written, right. So, it's a niche food or mainstream food. Now, read this advertisement. We make, I am not writing the product here, we make our product entirely from plant without the destructive impact of livestock. Yeah. So that you, your children and your grandchildren's children will always be able to enjoy a good old fashioned burger. Yeah. This is a tagline of the one of the commercial product. Yeah. So, I removed the name of the product, it is there. So, how true is this statement? Yeah. I leave it on to you to decide. You all are scientists, you all have studied science. Yeah. It is something like you remove all the lions and tigers so that poor deer can survive. Yeah. So, what will happen? The deer population will increase. So, there is an ecosystem. Yeah. Everything is controlling another species. Yeah. So, there is a role of every system. So, how we deal with it, how we meddle with it, that depends upon humans and what argument we put in place. Yeah. Now, so this is all how the alternative protein business is going on side of the other. Yeah. Because pulses were consumed in Asian subcontinent for ages. Yeah. But now, alternative protein pulses, if you will see a lot of research paper, novel protein from chickpea. Chickpea was always consumed here, right. Alternative protein from mung bean. So, mung bean was consumed not now, like it is being consumed for hundreds of years here, but that becomes a novel source of protein, because that was not in the traditional diet in certain part of the world. Yeah. So, that is all how we are driving towards alternative protein. Yeah. So, most interest and investment in alternative protein is currently in Europe and North America, and is from the region that report draws more evidence of social science and political economic analysis. Yeah. From where all this alternative protein things are coming in? From West. It's just because the way the proteins are required for feed purposes, animal meat is not making a business, dairy meat is not making a business, then you need to have to be active in a business first to create a narrative. Sometimes rumors are created to test the water, what people are thinking, other one rumors are created to make things happen. No. So, that is all our different argument with alternative proteins. So, whether it is really sustainable or not, that can only be established based on fact. I will give you a simple example. If you take say for example, any meat, okay, I will put it simple, chicken meat, yeah, to avoid all the controversies, yeah. If you take a chicken meat, yeah, what happens? When chicken is produced, it is all carbon positive, yeah. Like it takes a feed and then it is leaving the feces, nitrogen emission and all those things, it is carbon positive production, yeah. But when it is processed, it is a product for consumption, right. Take an example of seaweed. Seaweed all along is carbon negative because it sequestered all the carbon, yeah. Then harvesting, processing, still you get a powder, yeah. Then you have to make a product, yeah. So, this all makes it carbon positive, right. One place the production is carbon positive, processing and waste is carbon negative. Other place you have production is carbon negative and other one is just direct application, yeah. So, unless and until we improve the full farm to fork or we do not take food systems approach, it is difficult to establish what is right or what is wrong, what is sustainable, what is not sustainable. That is why the discussion from farm to fork has moved to food systems approach. That means how the inputs are coming in, how those inputs are developed or produced, and what are the processing technologies, what are their implication in environment, and then whatever products you are getting, what is their environmental impact. Am I clear in saying that? Yeah. So, I am not imposing any of my viewpoint on this, but for that you read this and come up with your own conclusion, what is sustainable, what is non-sustainable, and talk based on facts, yeah. It is not based on what you like, what you do not like. And already in a day one disclaimer was given, I am vegetarian, right, yeah. So, I am just taking the central line, what is correct, what is wrong. Same argument whether jhatka meat is good or halal meat is good, yeah. One side of argument is if you are cutting a jugular vein, yeah, blood is drained, so there is no blood in the meat. On jhatka meat, that means meat is fresh, yeah. So, that is there are two different arguments are there, and then again aspects are associated with it, yeah. So, is there any study which says halal meat is better or jhatka meat is better? And I do not think so anybody will dare to write anything related to that, yeah. Same thing is what is processed food, what is minimal processed food and what is ultra processed food, yeah. There is a NOVA system to classify different types of processing, and nothing is fresh, everything is processed, because washing is a processing, peeling is a processing, or whether it is less amount of processing or intense processing, that is the difference, yeah. So, every food product in my opinion is processed, because processing definition is any change to the raw material is known as processing, yeah. You pluck a mango or you pluck an apple, you wash it before you eat it. So, you did simple processing, that is washing. Then you wash it with the chlorine, minimally processed. Then you make a jam out of it, whether it is really heavily processed or minimally processed, or you make apple juice out of it. So, that will be less processed, yeah. So, there cannot be again a borderline. So, there is still a debate whether food is ultra processed, minimally processed or unprocessed. I do not think so anybody will eat unprocessed food, yeah. So, wheat grain is unprocessed grain. Who eats raw wheat grain? You either roast it or make a flour, that is also processed, and then you make a bread that is processed, and a bread to burger, yeah. So, there can be a lot of arguments. So, this could be a best debate to have with all the different type of people. They all are saying their own viewpoint and come to the conclusion, yeah. So, why alternative protein? Now, if this is the list of the companies involved in this, and it's going to be the third biggest market by 2054. This is what has been projected by business reports and business forums. Companies involved in raw material production. All these companies are involved in production of novel alternative protein. As you can see here, wheat protein, that means gluten protein, yeah. Algae, Aspire, all these, there are only few list of the companies. There are multiple number of companies who are involved in production of raw material as an alternative. As you can see, chickpea is also a company, Nutrati, soya protein, Nordic soya, Cargill, all this pea protein, cultured cell media, and computational breeding and engineered protein. So, these all are the companies involved in raw meat. Processing, texturing, that is extrusion, all these companies are involved in processing aspect of alternative protein. Buller is having big in insect protein nowadays, yeah. Formulation, that is another big area of formulating a protein, having all the nutrients and everything in it, yeah. That means having a balanced amino acid, having all those minerals or vitamins which are delivered in animal meat product system from plant protein. End products, this is again a big one. If you go in KFC, McDonald's and all, you have seen plant based burger, yeah. It's, I don't know how many of you would have tasted it, or plant based sausages and all. All these companies are involved in this particular business also, and lot of new startup are coming in this area as well, yeah. So, you can know like what is a big market, and sometimes research is driven by market or driven by consumer, yeah. It's consumer driven research, but consumer is driven by advertisements, yeah. So, first you create a need and then work on a need. First you create a problem, then propose a solution, yeah. So, that's the way it is. There is no problem, create a problem and then propose a solution. You propose a solution because you have your vested interest in it, yeah. Make sense? So, there can be number of different examples related to that. So, this is all what you can see, how different companies are involved. Have you seen Impossible Burger? Yeah, read their statement, you will find that answer, yeah. All these Alpro and all protein innocent, protein rich beverages, juice with protein, yeah. How much amount of protein is required? So, that is everything, even the calorific need has been drifted towards alternative protein. So, this alternative protein is either for food application or for feed application, yeah. So, we are pretty much clear type of different protein, yeah. Hydroslate, isolate, concentrates. What is changed in this slide compared to the previous one? Previous one was having 80, here is 70 to 80, yeah. Now, level of processing, yeah. How we can obtain concentrate depending upon the biomass. Suppose you have seafood side stream, you have done your experiment alkali, yeah, alkali solution, add HCl, you precipitate protein, yeah, you get concentrate, yeah. And if you further purify it, you get isolate, yeah. And then within that there are certain proteins and non-protein items are there. If you take same fish, you add alkalase enzyme, yeah, and whatever you get in a solution will be all protein, peptides and everything. Take the liquid portion up, dry it, you get protein hydroslate, yeah. Or else you get a protein, once you get this protein isolate or concentrate, use your enzyme to develop protein hydroslate, yeah. The only difference between protein hydroslate versus isolate or concentrate can be, hydroslates can be used for making a beverage formulation, because peptides and amino acids will be easily soluble in a water compared to protein isolates or concentrates, yeah. What is the maximum amount of protein you can dissolve in a water? Any idea? Have you ever noticed how much protein you can add in a water and it still remains a solution? if you exceed 4%, you become millionaire, because you can't have more than 4 to 5% protein in a water. That's it becomes completely gel. It makes colloidal suspension. But there are certain techniques how it can be, you can increase the protein. One of them is by using hydroslate. Yeah. Okay. So that's protein rich beverages, 4%, 5%. Protein rich beverage, best one is milk. What is the protein content of milk? 3 or 4%? 5, 6? Mike.
3.5 to 4.5 percentage.
Have you seen any milk which can have 5 or 6% protein?
No, no.
No, only fat can be. Yeah. So that's why any protein soluble in the water, buy any protein isolate or concentrate and see how much protein you can mix in the water. If you get 10%, your process, you are a millionaire. You can make huge amount of money, but it's not possible. It is possible, but it will be like you have to then eat it. You can't drink it. Yeah. So that is one how we can increase the solubility of the protein. Another challenge comes in here. Somebody was asking other day the question about the bitterness. If you make protein hydrosolate, even it is having 10% or 12% protein, but it becomes bit bitter because of certain amino acids. So flavorzyme is one of the options. Other one is to encapsulate that portion of the amino acids. So again, we are making ultra processed product, or we have keep processing it. Yeah, that's one thing. Now coming back to different value chains. Yeah, so protein, fiber, bioactives, and different nutraceuticals, pharmaceuticals things you have seen it. Yeah. Now if you take an example of seaweed here again, harvesting and all with the production, level 1 processing, washing, milling, drying, and different checks. So first level of processing, and then from there itself we can have a product directly for food and feed application, right. Second level of processing, that means converting them into a specific ingredient, whether it's a cosmetics, nutraceuticals, pharmaceuticals, and packaging, processing, and retail, right. So now if you will see different type of economic value which we can obtain from this value chain. Yeah. Energy, lowest one we already discussed. Use whole of the seaweed as a fertilizer, that will be completely carbon neutral fertilizer. Yeah, because there is no chemicals required to produce that biofertilizer. Food, feed, cosmetics, nutraceutical, and pharmaceutical. So raw seaweed, carbohydrate, fermentation, biofuel, bulk, different types of biochemicals. Chemical conversion, again it can have either fermentation processes or chemical conversion, because even if you take a seaweed, have microbial fermentation or yeast fermentation, you can produce a range of different compounds. Protein for food, cosmetics or animal feed, minerals, food or feed product, vitamin, minerals, you can get different mixtures, residues, energy source, and fertilizer. So next coming slides and tomorrow when you talk about the business model, some of those how we have established large scale system by using multiple different companies. Dultramarine, this is the organic seaweed producers using IMTA system. They process range of different products directly from seaweed, and this is what produces a lot of biochemical for different application. Now I will quickly go through different value chains considering blue circular economy, focusing mainly on macroalgae of it, not on the fish or chitosan. We have done enough of those examples. Yeah. So this you remember biorefinery. Yeah. I wanted to have it yesterday, but was waiting for you guys to finish off your assignment. You have seen this already anyway. Yeah. Now first one is production. You can fit in any crop into this. Yeah. Example here is again with the 3 different specific seaweed. Then you have a conversion system, that is fractionation, either a dry root, that is you have a biomass, you dry it, do direct extrusion for feed formulation. VC1 is one value chain like this. Yeah. Second one, same dry or wet, both Either you use a technology to dislodge the biomass to make it a complete paste or to break the structure, and then it can go for food value chain in relation to soup mixes, yeah, because seaweed based soup will smell like a fish, or blending with other biomass. Bakery product, lot of bread and different snacks are produced, or any ready to eat product, and this can also be achieved by extrusion. Seaweed extruded, extrusion changes the properties from insoluble fiber to soluble fiber in that fashion, and residue whatever is left over from these processes can go for biogas or bioenergy production. Same hydrodynamic cavitation from wet or a dry, you have food additives, extraction of protein, alginates and dietary fiber. This you have seen it in on value chains. Yeah. So, leftover biochemical mannitol sugar via fermentation, bioactives, fucoidin, laminarin, antimicrobial agents or different antioxidant. Yeah. So, this all the products what can be obtained from a single biorefinery of seaweed, and it is not a theoretical one. Lot of businesses now are thriving on full biorefinery. Yeah. Now, in order to see what one is the best one and what is economic value, you have to carry out LCA, LCCA or techno-economic assessment, that is feasibility study, that is advancing the TRL level. So, then how you do it? Economic, social and environment. Economic for making profit, social that people should buy it, yeah, should be convinced to buy those product, nutrition wise, health wise, economic wise as well as socially or culturally wise, to change the mindset that yes, this is better product for their health and wellness. Yeah. And then bearable, equitable and viable. Yeah. So, viability of a business having both environment and remember we were talking about 3 different E balances. Yeah. In that way I did not cover to balance the social aspect, which is very difficult to balance it. Yeah. You cannot make a product which is balanced for every society, because there is always needs and wants differs depending upon the consumer. So, first value chain, whether it is a food and feed, is related to extrusion. Yeah. And extrusion, what all we can do? How many of you know about extrusion and how many of you have seen extruder? Okay. So, extruder could be single screw or twin screw. Yeah. And extruder is the one which is also used for making texturized vegetable protein. So, extrusion, whole seaweed goes through the extruder, whether you blend it with other grains or you do not blend it with other grains, you get straight away as a feed formulation for cattle or fish feed. This is one of the common way of making different type of feed, or same seaweed for insect feed and then insect feed or chicken feed, and this insect itself can be used for feeding chickens. Yeah. So, this is the way you can include circularity, or same insect for fish feed. Or then the same insect is blended with the seaweed to make different combination of feed. That depends upon what is your target animal and what is the rationing, that is how much protein should be there, what all different types of nutrients are there in a particular feed, whether it is a pet food or it is a fish feed or cattle feed. These are very, very clear what is animal requires in terms of nutrition, and then based on that you do a experimental design to develop that feed. One of the best way of developing those type of mixture design is having a mixture design. Yeah. If you is a sort of some of you would have seen, a majority of people they use RSM, yeah, response surface optimization. This is one of the technique for response surfaces where you mix 3 ingredient, whatever output you get, based on that you set a target what you need, and then you get exact raw material required to formulate a product. And the other day somebody was suggesting if we can use 2 different all the shells together to extract chitosan. Yeah. Similar way you can mix number of different biomasses. If you know how much protein is there and what will be the quality of the protein, do some bit of calculation, mix those biomass and then extract the protein. Then you do not have to do the blending. Yeah, that is also possible. Either you get a plant cereal protein and pulse protein and then blend it for amino acid, then you have to mix it properly, or else blend the raw grains directly first and then do the extraction. That is also a possibility, so that whatever protein you get a blended property, blended protein with all those nutritional properties. Yeah. Extrusion is one. So, I will show you a short video on extrusion, which is done with our one of our PhD, or residue protein alginates dietary fiber. Yeah. This is all food and feed value chain. So, any question related to this food and feed value chain? Now, if you have to change any of the biomass from seafood or shellfish, certain elements will change. Yeah. For fish, you do not need to go for fish protein, you do not have to go for extrusion. Yeah. For food purposes, fish itself is a product, fillets are sold, whereas the protein from fish can be used for extrusion for making animal feed or a pet food. Yeah. So, accordingly different technologies are adopted to create value chain. So, there are different value chains. Now, again for biochemical, nutraceutical and pharmaceuticals. So, once you have leftover biomass, the residue coming from this particular value chain, from food or feed value chain, and you have soluble fraction, you deploy a membrane system, high molecular weight fractions, fucoidin, laminarins and amino acids, low molecular weight sugars, mannitol and other fluorotannins or some sort of biostimulant. When we say biostimulant, these are again the nutrient which activates root growth. So, once you have this, cytotoxicity, human intervention trials and then application. Residue over here, these 2,3-butanediol, succinic acid, these are some of the chemicals which are listed to replace from the biological origin. Normally, these chemicals are obtained from chemicals, how we replace it from biological origin. Yeah. So, this is again related to bioactive, fucoidin, laminarin, residue, human intervention trials. So, how you can create different value chain based on a single technology. Yeah. But that does not mean these value chains can only be created by hydrodynamic cavitation. This was just an example because I showed you those some of those technologies previously. Yeah. So, it could be any of those extraction or conversion systems. Now, just watch this this presentation and this answers your question about extrusion. Yeah. I leave it with the music on. Now, this is a simple small extruder. Yeah. And this shows how different plant protein or seaweed or any sort of protein can be used. Alternatives developed using plant concentrate derived from different plant sources. Yeah. So, when you are extruding, you can add multiple ingredients, vitamins and nutrients, whatever is required or whatever is your desired color or so. Yeah. And then in extrusion, what happens, different ingredients, they are mixed, and this is basically a twin screw extruder. Yeah. And this is the same vegetable protein, how texture has been changed for it. Yeah. You need to create certain types of fibrous protein. Yeah, because meat is having a fiber. Yeah. HMMA is high moisture extrusion. Yeah. Now, this is a commercial scale extrusion. Yeah. This particular extruder is used extensively by Cargill and multiple multinational companies at our place to develop different types of texturized vegetable proteins. Yeah. So all the configuration and different types of protein are based on different types of dye which are used for making that particular protein. Yeah. So this is again a texturized one, looks like a completely like a chicken type protein. Yeah. Now, if you are looking for, and he is the one who has just finishing PhD and has done a lot of work on extrusion and converting those texturized vegetable proteins into using extrusion. Yeah. Now, when we talk about extrusion, yeah, what do you think how we can make vegan fish like product? If we have to get a flavor of fish in rice protein, yeah, or how we can create a fibrous protein? Can we create a fibrous protein from any flour? I'll give a simple example. How many of you have seen patisa, the sweet, son papdi? Yeah, seen son papdi? It's having a lot of small fibers. How it's been created? Yeah, constant churning and movement. Yeah, there is no extruder used for that. Yeah, same thing with the rice with acid. If you take high waxy rice and have a acid in it and keep churning, you need to do a lot of churning, and you will see the fibrous or very spongy or rubbery type of structure. Yeah, and then to use seaweed blanched water to get that particular flavor. Yeah, to get a fish like flavor. So you can have a salmon or mackerel fillet looks like vegan. Yeah, same way if you have certain vegetables or crops, like even a jackfruit structure is very fibrous one. Yeah, so you need certain type of fibers and to have that protein, and when you texturize it, they should be able to hold the moisture. Yeah, because the juiciness is also important when it comes to meat product. Yeah, in order to do that, you have to have certain fibers or carbohydrates embedded into that matrix, then only it can have your good water holding and oil holding capacity. So there you need to have a protein concentrate rather than going for only protein. Yeah, so these are the different ways how you can make things texturized. So extrusion is one of the most commonly used method, or is a possibility to scale up. So as you have seen in the last how the product looks like, you can create a fibers. Yeah, so that's did this answer your question how you can create a fibrous protein? Yeah, extrusion is simple one, other one is high moisture and temperature churning processes, it creates into different fibers, you get fiber like texture, or you have different blends and added flavoring agents. Other one is a stock solution. Even some cases animal stock solution is used to impart a flavor, but meat is coming from protein. Yeah. So now coming back, quick recap again related to value chain. We talked a lot about different seaweeds. See, Gelidium looks like this. Yeah. Alaria squalenta looks like this. Escophyllum nodosum looks like this. Fucus vesiculosus, Saccharina, Latticema. These two are heavily aquacultured. This is wild harvest. This is wild harvest for fucoidin rich, and this is for agar-agar, Gelidium. Yeah. Use different technology, you get agar-agar alginates. Why I am coming back to these ones? Because these are also the ingredients which are used for improving the water holding and water binding properties. Then when it comes to the extraction and where all these ingredients are located, and if you will see different structure of the crop, this is not scanning electron microscopy, you will not be getting like that, but it is just by studying the structure. As you can see, there is cellulose microfibril, glucans, protein, vulvan, this is from vulvan means vulva, interaction, ionic and strength. So all these are interrelated. Yeah. Other day we are asking about the question of using ultrasonics or cavitation, how do we get things extracted. So if these are the complex structure, if you want to extract, for example, protein is somewhere here. Yeah. It is bounded with different sugars and different nutrients. That is the reason when we extract a protein, Even though protein is colorless, basically you get normally a white powder, whatever is not color, whichever does not contain a color looks white, yeah, because the moment you add it into the water, it becomes transparent, yeah, or translucent. So, with this there are a lot of different sugars are there. If you have to use a solvent, so you have to break that particular network. So, remember extraction and valorization principle, this one liner principle, take what you want or remove what you do not want, yeah, correct. Open a packet, take the chips out, you are taking what you want, yeah. Peel the orange, throw it. So, you throw away what you do not want, yeah. That decision is made based on what is in a larger quantity. If protein is smaller quantity and you want to use a residue, accordingly the processes are done. Demineralization followed by deproteinization, deproteinization followed by demineralization, all these actions come into play. So, this just shows how these are quietly complicated networks: cellulose, glucans, fucans, glycoprotein linkages, phenols, iodine, alginate network. Now, this is to do with alginates. So, that is what it is giving a strong structure. So, what is the compound which gives a structure to a plant cell? There is a single compound, right?
Cell wall, sir.
Correct. What is the compound which gives the cellular?
Cellulose.
No. Have you about there is a middle lamella? Have you heard of a middle lamella? It contains calcium pectate. The moment you add a calcium to any vegetable crop or vegetables, it becomes turgid, because the pectic substances are there. Well, cell wall, it does give a structure, but it gives it turgidity. So, middle lamella, that is calcium pectate, that is pectin and a calcium network, that gives the strong structure. The same way alginates over here provides a structure. When alginate is gone, then it becomes easier to break it down, yeah. So, if you see this normal seaweed, any cell structure, these are your normal cells, and you have a beta glucan, that is laminarin, yeah, and this is what it looks like, much simplified way. This is fucoidin, yeah, and then you have alginates, alginate layers, you have protein, hemicellular celluloses. So, this is the biomass where you are trying to extract something, yeah. So, you know it is not that easy, put any solvent and extract it. So, first and foremost, to design an extraction thing of valorization is to target what compound it is, where it is principally located, and what are the solution which it can dissolve with, and then accordingly you can draw down your extraction principles, yeah. Then once you have these ingredient, yeah, then you go with all your properties, whatever application you want to use it, yeah. Now, you have seen ultrasonic treatment other day, and you have seen some of the scanning electron microscopy. This is another one, I was trying to find it out from exclusively from seaweed. This is from Ascophyllum nodosum, 200 micrometer SEM image. This is the surface it looks like, yeah. Seaweed is normally very, very smooth. The moment we give some bit of treatment, and you can see some of the pores are formed, yeah, and these pores were very clear the other day when we were looking at the meat structure, yeah, because that was precisely taken scanning electron microscopy. Taken imaging itself is a complicated phenomena. So, when we try to dry those biomasses, seaweed and all, and then they just changes their structure. So, as you can see from here, all these pores, whereas you do not see any of those pores here, and then when you go closely, and then you can see there are pores formation. So, that is the reason it improves extractability, yeah. Now, again agar from gelidium, different techniques we have gone through. Alginate from Saccharina latticema, same technique, the powder you get, and then how you have obtained using different techniques. Optimization, and once all these ingredients are obtained, then subsequent operations are carried out to measure which one is having more impact, which one is having less impact. And all these ingredients are also useful in making alternative feed as a water binding, yeah, or as oil binding, or to provide a specific type of texture, because they have very good water absorption capacities. So, again valorization, this we have covered, yeah, different strategies, you get different extracts, purification, application. Then different types of biomasses, crude alginate, pharmaceutical grade, sugar, peptides, purification, all these things are repeat. That means, once you get your hydrocolloids, or you remove the protein and then how you can get rest of the bioactives, or you remove these bioactives and then you get a protein. Yeah, I am trying to just go for quick recap of all those things what we have done and how we can use it into feed application, and then next one for your biopolymer application. Now, once we have taken all the protein, alginates, bioactives, everything out, left over is your fiber. Yeah, fiber, that means it contains lot of cellulose. Now, this is the way how we can get a cellulose. Yeah, either from the whole biomass of leftover residue. Leftover residue, you do not have to go through the bleaching process or so, then you just go for alkaline treatment of the residue again, whatever is left over, to obtain cellulose. And the similar model can be applied when it comes to rice straw. Yeah, either it is rice straw or any other grain straw, how we can get your cellulose. Yeah, and you all know what is the application of cellulose. What is it? Making biopolymer or alternative plastics, yeah, alternative packaging material, chitosan, cellulose, and whole of the biomass itself. And how we can use whole of the biomass itself for packaging application, any idea? Thermoforms. Sorry, can you give a mic?
Sir, we can form polychar like that and polyform thermocol.
One is thermoforms, so like what we make plastic cups and paper cups. You have seen those, paper plates and paper cups. That is the whole biomass exactly can be used, or the specific ingredients can be used, or the leftover biomass can be used to making those type of paper cups. That's
sir, activated carbon we can form.
Activated carbon is another biomass. That means you heat this one and get that black carbon. And other day I was discussing, most of the toner inks are basically a carbon. Activated carbon is one thing, but normal carbon itself is another one, which is used as a ink for lot of the printers.
And sir, carbon dots we can form with the help of rice straw.
Carbon dots, yes, it can be, yes, all these are now high end applications are there. Yeah, so at the moment itself the whole biomass, it's not valorized. Yeah,
Okay.
there can be some of the niche application, can be very high value application, can be low value application. The whole purpose here is to show what are the enormous possibilities are there with the biomass. Yeah, so whether we target for food or a feed, still a lot of biomass left over there when you purify the protein. For instance, if seaweed contains 10% protein, yeah, if you remove alginates alone, the protein from 10 might go up to 25 to 30%. Yeah, so this itself is sufficient enough for a lot of different types of product. It's having similar protein profile, protein content as what you see in pulses. Yeah, so you created into pulses. If you take these protein out, then you have your fibers and soluble fibers, and these fibers again either to get a cellulose, you use it for activated carbon, or you use it for your making carbon dots or whatever is to be prepared. But how carbon dots can be prepared out of it, I have never done it. So, I have I will say zero experience in making that. Yeah, okay.
Sir, actually my senior doing like he make carbon dots from the rice straw.
Okay.
And anything like waste material.
That's great. So, the similar approach can be adopted here, right? So, when you learn from one stream to another, that is why I always call it translational approach. That is translating knowledge from A field to B field. Yeah, that's the way. That was the purpose of bringing this one into this picture, cellulose, fibers and other one, because it was becoming too foody and food and feed chain. Now, once you have all these ingredients, the question comes in whether it contains antimicrobial activity or what type of activities these extracts have. Some of these what you are seeing here is coming in based on your yesterday's based on the question and answer session, right. So, whatever extracts were obtained, fluorotannins or bioactives from seaweed, Listeria innocua, E. coli, antimicrobial assay. As you can see, this has been when we do antimicrobial assay, one of the way is to do it in a spectrophotometer. Take a microbial culture, add it into the media and then add your extract and leave it in a incubated condition and then to see how microorganisms is growing. So, this is what you will see, there are too many lines, this is complete raw data there and it is like this. Yeah. Some they do not grow, their lag phase is way beyond their limit. Yeah. This may be just an error. Yeah. It is not that negative growth, not possible, and some they have normal growth. Yeah. So, that means certain concentration of extract they had bactericidal effect. So, if you include into the product or include into the hand cream, this will not kill, but this will stop their growth. Yeah. Majority of the natural extract they are bacteriostatic or bactericidal. Cidal means killing, static means maintaining the activity, that means not allowing it to grow. Yeah. So, that means guard standing at the gate, yeah, or a shooter at the gate. Yeah. So, that is stopping the activity or killing. So, E. coli or Listeria. So, this shows antimicrobial properties, how it can be done. Other one, once you have extract, you know this having antimicrobial properties or some health properties, then you have to do with cytotoxicity, and then cytotoxicity based on different molecular weight compound. Yeah. That means cytotoxicity for all the proteins and alginates, hydrocolloids we obtain, or low molecular weight compound and 5 kilodalton. So, this shows how much is the concentration required to achieve certain cytotoxicity. Yeah. So, this was all some of the examples. How do we take seaweed from farm, get the food ingredient, feed ingredient, extraction technologies we have covered. We have seen how we can use extrusion to develop different types of product. Yeah. And then whatever bioactives are, what are their sequence of events required to establish a full refinery process. Yeah. Quickly just go through the microalgae process. Cholera vulgaris, Nanoscleropsis, Porphyrium purpureum, this is red color. So, direct product itself, you will see just this is all in at not lab scale, above lab scale, in a pilot scale you can say that. Fresh biomass, freeze dried, this is the powder what we get. Yeah. This whole itself is a perfect red color powder. The moment you add it even a 1%, whole water sounds completely red. Same way if you have spirulina, you get a bluish color. So, depending upon the microalgae, you can get different types of color. Then extraction, same process, 1:20 dilution, freeze dried biomass with 20 ml, that is 1 gram for distill 20 ml. Yeah. See the color of the solutions. So, you have Cholera vulgaris, Nanocropsis, and again same purpureum, that is as microalgae. And then next, either use a normal shaking method, stirring method, high pressure applied, plasma, ultrasonic probe, bath, yeah, microwave or pulse electric field. Yeah. And you can have much more number of technologies employed in it. Yeah. So, that is all for treatment purposes. Then what else you do? You centrifuge it, you have seen all these centrifugations. Yeah. And then supernatant and residues. Yeah. So, even after the treatment, after giving the treatment, even then you dry it, you will have a better biological activity. There you are using a technology to release those compound into suspension. Yeah, it is not then you have to purify the compound for different application. Main purpose is to improve the bioavailability or to improve bioactivity of the compound. You take a microalgae, make a solution, give a treatment, dry it again, and then use it for application. You will see the differences in bioactivity. Yeah, that means treatment itself is opening up the structure. That is the advantage using microalgae, because they itself are microscopic. Then bioactive compound profiling, cell culture studies, and this is the full series of experiments which was done as a part of research thesis. Yeah, and there has been a lot of people were involved in production of microalgae. One group was only looking into improving the bioactivity, other group was extracting the compound, and then this is the sequence. This is what exactly what you do in terms of extraction experiments. Yeah, then after that, sorry, why is it coming? Oh. Now, any questions? Yeah.
Sir, I am working in plant-based meat and lard, sir. So it is easy to mimic the quantity of protein, whereas chicken has around 20 to 30% of protein. Plant-based meat and lard, I can achieve the same amount or even higher than the existing chicken. The problem is in quality of protein, that is amino acid. We know animal protein has more amino acid, more essential amino acids than plant. So how to overcome this? How can we claim it is an alternative protein, whereas the quality of plant based is a bit lower?
Yeah. Now, first thing is, even though when you are trying to see the amino acid, that is why I said perfect blend is required. Yeah, blending, that means either to having a co-extraction between all the which contains all the essential amino acids, that is pulses versus rice. The formulation has to be right. Yeah, that is one. Other one is to having those amino acid added to that. That's the reason I gave a reference of mixture design. If you see A protein, what you extract, what is their amino acid, and B, what is amino acid and what is your target amino acid. If you do the back calculation, it will tell you how much approximately raw biomass you need to get a co-extracted protein. That is question number 1. Yeah, because if you blend the protein afterwards, you may not get a consistency, a cohesiveness between that protein to obtain that particular quality. Apart from that, there is another challenge with the quality is not only the nutrition part of it, other one is also to have the bioavailability and digestibility of those two proteins. There again, once a protein structure is obtained, and then if you are giving a certain treatments, I do not know which one will be the best one, that has to be investigated, whether pulse electric field or you are giving electrical treatment or ultrasonic treatment or moisture treatment, hydrothermal type treatment, so that you make that texture and improve its digestibility. Yeah, then only you will be able to see whether it is matching exactly that or not. Yeah, so basically majority of the time when it comes to different type of chicken or meat product, the way it is being processed, what people, I do not know, you will be better one to tell me, that is mainly they feel the texture of eating. It is not the taste. I do not think so they are having much of taste, but it is only because of juiciness and amount of water or gravy it can retain. That is the feel what it gets you, right? Because protein is not having any taste anyway. Yeah, so and that is the way it can be easily formulated. So amino acid formulation problem is not severe. The problem comes in when we have your getting the digestibility and availability of nutrient plus other vitamins, fat soluble vitamins or cyanocobalamin, how we match that one. That is one challenge. Second challenge, you asked this question, second challenge is when things are related to complete vegan or diet which does not contain any fat. Yeah, there is a challenge, then how you are going to store your fat soluble vitamins. Yeah, because fat is also essential. It is not you eliminate fat completely, you will be more healthier, slimmer, trimmer and all, right. But the problem is how do you retain your fat soluble vitamins. So all these things has to be well balanced, and in order to create a texture, there is also some techniques you would have seen, I think in in a lot of institution in and around Chennai, they have that called electro spinning, yeah. And think of the guy who sells what you call sugar threads, you know, big sugar candies, big balls. Those are the what do you call that?
Cotton candy, sir.
Cotton candies, yeah. We used to call it something else, yeah. And then if that is created from the fiber, and I did ask somebody to create a fiber from the protein, such suspension, and those type of fibers can be created from the protein itself. So you don't need to use a huge amount of technological approaches, yeah. Any other? No. So what we covered basically was quick of recap, yeah, as well as how we can create it for feed and food protein. So next one will continue with the biopolymer, yeah, and there will be some bit of connections from the previous one, yeah. So we'll continue with the previous session. So far we know how we can obtain food, feed, different ingredients. So when you see the agri farm to fork system, raw material stabilization covered. Then we have a processing technology, some aspect of it, obviously not in entirety of having all the technologies, all the ingredients and everything. That's and then once you have ingredient, what comes next? Next one is how do you characterize it? So some of the characterization technique you have already discussed and seen it, FTIR and different one. Some of those basic ones you can look into any standard protocol for color, composition analysis or so. That is all is pretty much standard as per AOCS methods or as per AACC method. Different methods are already established. And then comes the product for packaging aspect of it, yeah. That is also integral part of blue circular economy, both in terms of using the existing packaging material and bringing circular economy to it, or to develop a new polymeric material from the ingredients what we have already extracted, yeah, how we can make circle. So that will be complete, value chain will be completed after this particular module. So that's this particular lecture. So first, what is the problem? We always start with the problem, then becomes easier to understand. So global plastic waste, we all know, you walk around any street, walk around any city, what you'll see, plastics everywhere, yeah. So there are lot of studies are there, lot of data is available, how much the plastic is generated annually, and what is growth expected to, whether we go for biodegradable or compostable plastic or alternative packaging material, but whatever plastic is in use still is going to have usage and is going to increase because we are increasing number of food, population is increasing, requirements are increasing. Recycling, very less amount, less than 10% is recycled. So that means we use the same bag. In some places we started recycling, and it is only because of enforcement. You have to pay 10 rupees to buy a plastic bag, so you take your own bag from home. Yeah, you've seen in all the shops. Or other one is environmental impact. So whatever plastic is landing up in environmental landfills. It takes ages to degrade that particular polymeric material. Some plastic is broken down, then it comes into the ecosystem in a form of bioplastics. Yeah. Then there are work is going on to remove those bioplastics. That has to be carried out, because still whatever plastic is already there in the water, it is coming in some form or the other. So that's all. I am not going to go into different statistics. So you open any, even if you open any browser and just type in plastic problem, you will see 100 different reports, 100 different work carried out globally and talking about the same thing, that is how much is the plastic, what we do, how we change it, and a lot of work is being carried out even in different institutions as an alternative to packaging material. So life of plastics and greenhouse gas emissions associated with it, that's not only associated with the production of packaging material, but also disposal and what are the environmental problems happening. So how we get rid of plastics or how we can reduce it. It is not expected after this particular lecture that will solve the plastic problem, but at least we will be aware of what all is required and which direction to move forward. So when it comes to bioplastics, that is plastics in a form of biological origin, that is changing from plastic or chemical economy to bioeconomy, biological origin plastic. So if you will see number of different type of packaging material, polypropylene, PTT, PET, these are all in use. Yeah, polyethylene terephthalate, this is PET bottle. Yeah, that's a PET bottle. Polyethylene, PEF, polyamide. Now these all are one which are chemical origin. PLA coming from lactic acid, now extensively used, and lactic acid coming from dairy waste. Yeah, lactose to lactic acid and making it cyclic, that is PLA. Then you have polyhydroxy alkylanates, starch based, polybutylene and cellulose regenerated. So, a lot of different types of biopolymers are also growing at the moment, that is bio based, non biodegradable, that is they are bio based, but they are non biodegradable. So, some of the terminologies are important to understand. One is compostable, that means you can compost it, biodegradable or non biodegradable, yeah, which takes time, but not as much as what a plastic or fossil fuel based packaging material does. Yeah. So, utilization rate, again high production utilization, industry operates average utilization 82%, nearly full capacity. That means whatever businesses are, they still not lot of business scope is there to grow those type of packaging material. And then different types of variations are available, and you can see easily how your utilization of this is happening in a production and unused capabilities. So that means we need to have more and more space to grow those type of bioplastic and to replace it. So one of the major factors is again the cost of producing those type of polymeric material. This is just setting up some of the scenes. So coming back to packaging aspect, one, to know what are the categories of plastics. Yeah, typical polymeric material, production, yeah, food packaging. So we are only concerned about the food side of it, and then what are different categories of food. So there are almost we can name number of different types of categories of food which are used for which are either packed or consumed in some form of the packaging. Yeah. Then you have seen all these simple symbols on any other packaged product. Yeah. Unfortunately, even the people who have a scientific background, we do not look into those ones. Yeah. We eat it, we dump it. Yeah. Isn't it? So how many of you read all these ones? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It is something like 50% offer. Yeah. And bottom selected items. Yeah. One socks they have 50% off, and rest all is the normal price. Yeah. So those things are changed in some of the stores. By law, you have to put the minimum percentage what is there, not I won't say the cheating word, but I'll say to be having a clarity in a business. Yeah. Minimum 5% off, 5 to 75% off. You have to be very clear. You go to the shop, it says 70% off, up to 70%. You go in, then you'll see what is the 70%. 2 shirts are there on 70%, rest all is on regular price. Yeah. So some of you were there in shopping mall anyway other day. So you have seen that all the shops they have big sale, and whosoever was not having a board, then nobody was going in. Yeah. So that same way, when we see the label, very few people they see the labels. So now the things are recyclable, non-recyclable. So if they are properly segregated, then we can recycle those products. So that becomes very important. So you know how we can address the packaging problem by replacing it, or by informing correct practices, the best practices, so that it can be adopted whatever is required from the nature point of view. Now, so 10 most commonly plastic object found in the beaches. This is European beach, but you can see it everywhere. Yeah. Bottles, that's one. Bags, yeah. Crisp or candies packet, toffees and all those packets. Yeah. Very few. For smokers, food containers, balloon and balloon sticks, yeah, cutleries, cotton buds, sanitary applications. So all those different types of products are available. You go in any beach, you go in Marina Beach or any of the beach, you will see all this type of packaging material. So how this can be reduced? By becoming a responsible consumer. So there are a lot of campaigns are there, how we can use it and how we can recycle it. Yeah. I've seen even the container like waste bin is there 5 meters away. Yeah. And people, they won't bother one step to walk and just to throw it into a bin. Yeah. That's one aspect of it, right? We all are responsible. Even in this room, everybody is studying science, but still we do the same. So there is no point in arguing with the people who are uneducated. Yeah. So that's one aspect, right? So million tons of plastic generated dumped in ocean every year. So what is the problem it causes? Even the garbage truck is throwing every plastic into oceans and natural water bodies. So what is the challenge? What happens because of those plastics? Those plastics are consumed by animals, and it goes to their stomach, and part of that goes into the product, and then you consume it. Yeah. So that's the cycle of bioplastic. So either how we remove the plastics from the water is one challenge. Other one is how do we remove the bioplastics from the product what we are going to consume. That is difficult. So solution is, especially those who are consuming eating seafood products and all, should be more cautious at how this plastic is going into our own system. Yeah. So that's what all these slides just shows what are the problems and how we can address those. First one is awareness. Yeah. More seeking a consumer products that are completely eco-friendly, but still many barriers are there for design and manufacturing side. Can you think what is the challenge why we are not able to replace conventional packaging material? What are the challenges replacing this plastic bottle? Or do you think every plastic can be replaced, or every plastic should be replaced? Can be replaced? Answer is yes. Should we replace every plastic? Because some plastic can be recycled. Yeah. The problem is if it is properly recycled. Yeah. Some problems are when you have a duplicity of material. One base material is A type of plastic and cover is B type, that is PET plus LDPE. Yeah. Bottom tray is made up of A type of plastic and top film is made up of B type of plastic. Mixture. Same thing is with the textiles. Cotton easy to recycle. Cotton plus polyester. Yeah. Cotton plus nylon. how do we segregate it? Segregation is another key problem for recycling. Yeah. So that is not a problem if food is attached to a packaging material, because that's an organic matter. It will be burnt at a lower temperature itself. Will be gone into ashes where a packaging material can be recycled. Yeah. So that's one is to have awareness. Yeah. And there a lot of work is carried out in a social aspect of food, how we can raise awareness among people. How sustainable is the food packaging industry? So we only focus on the food side of it, given our expertise and remit. Food industry must take a greater responsibility for single use plastics. Government tried to reduce the use of single use plastics. Nobody was listening. What they introduced? The law and put the fine. Yeah. So because of that, people stopped using single use plastic. Now slowly again it started coming in from hidden bags. Yeah. Nobody was supposed to have single use plastic, but in remote villages, in cities is okay, but remote villages still they are using it. Yeah. So that's one, how we get rid of single use plastic. Single use plastic means which cannot be recycled easily. There are small thin films, you go and buy a mango and you have single use plastic. Nobody want to carry the paper bag, or nobody want to carry the bags from their home to buy vegetables or crops. But nowadays slowly awareness is increasing. Now this is one of the image coming from the Twitter. Yeah, there's a Kenya bans the use of single use plastic bags. Yeah, in India also it was banned. Are you aware of that? Single use plastics was banned. Most of the pan parag and all those small gutka packets which used to be everywhere, now those has been replaced with degradable one or bio based one. So that's why you don't see those type of waste product that much on the street, because it degrades faster. Yeah. And then earlier 40 companies including Coca-Cola, Asda is a big retail company like a Tesco, signed up a UK plastic pact pledging to cut the plastic within 7 years by designing better product component. If you have seen one, somebody brought a box of chocolates from a country, there was a big box having a packaging, that's fine. Within that there was an individual packet packed again. Within that there were 4 pieces, each 4 packet was packed. Within that there was one another packing, and under that there was small piece of paper. Yeah. So out of 1 kg, yeah, 300 gram was only the packaging material. Yeah. Right. If you buy a chips, what most of the time people will say in villages is, they are selling the air. Yeah. You know that most of the potato crisp packet, there is some gas infused into it. You know what is that gas? Nitrogen. Why nitrogen? Anyone?
To avoid rancidity, sir.
To
avoid rancidity and improve the shelf life, as well as it acts as a cushioning.
Avoid rancidity, how? No, correct.
It's an inert gas.
It's an inert gas.
So oxidative rancidity will
exactly.
be.
If you use the CO2, it will become rancid. Yeah. Okay. So that's one thing why we have to focus on these type of aspects, right? Yeah. So what are the main highlights related to that? First and foremost, that no packaging material should go to the landfill. Yeah. That's one thing. That is no plastic. This is again European initiative, that no plastic should be there in a landfill. Sludge and all is okay, but eliminate unnecessary single use plastics. 55% of plastic is recycled, reusable or compostable packaging bag by 2030, not 100%. And these are realistic figures which can be achieved. Yeah. That means whatever plastic we are using, how best we can recycle it. So nowadays one initiative has started, and Germany is one of the country which recycles the most of the plastics. Yeah. If you have plastic bottle, it says R on it. When you finish drinking water, you go in a shopping mall, you put those plastic bottles and you get money out of it. And if you remember, in India this was done when people, they all keep the plastic bottles, glass bottles, newspapers, and you get a money, right? Yeah. That was already done, but now also it is done. But whereas when you buy any stuff, you pay for that one. The recycling cost is included in the product when you purchase it. So we were already doing it. Yeah. So it has intensity has to increase, and how we can recycle it. The person who buys all the package plastic material, so that was we call it, what we call the word kabadi. Yeah. But he was doing much more environmental job. Yeah. Rather than most of the people who are throwing it outside. Yeah. But within that, laminates and all those ones, with high barrier properties, packaging materials are not the one which are recycled the most. Yeah. So though that we have to establish a mechanism, how do we recycle those. So elimination of non-recyclable component in all plastic material. See, the problem is not only for recycling the plastic, but the fillers are added, some chemicals are added within that. That creates a problem. For example, PVC. PVC is not used for food packaging. Yeah. What is PVC stands for? Polyvinyl chloride, because of chlorine going into the product. This help to build circular economy, life cycle assessment of plastic to accomplish waste minimization. That means how we can do the life cycle assessment from farm to fork, yeah, A, and how we do 3R, that is recycling, reduce, or recycle, reuse and reduce, right? Reduce, recycle and reuse. So 3 R's are there, right? So how we can do that within the packaging material. So what are the strategies how we can reduce the plastic? Green packaging. So start using green packaging material. Green color packaging packets, yeah? No. Green means eco, biodegradable or so, right? Example, have you seen these type of Tetra Pak made up of paper? Yeah. Even these type of paper cups, yeah, they have inside there is a coating, but they are paper cup, and the problem is a plastic lid which comes on top of it. But most of the places the plastic lid is made up of compostable ones. Costa and all those brands, they started using such material, but that's why their product is becoming quite expensive. Yeah. Reduce single use plastic, promote reusable formats, promote design to optimize use and recycling. See, the problem is when you take a plastic bag from home and go to the shop, people, they think of their prestige issue. Yeah. Oh, I can buy it for 10 rupees. Yeah. That's the problem. Prestige is also another issue which has to be overcome. Yeah. A step forward towards circular economy. Yeah. You've seen people, they even buy a water bottle and they keep refilling the same bottle. Yeah. But because of prestige issue, no, I don't want to use the same water bottle. You want to buy a new water bottle so that you look fancier. Yeah. But slowly the time is changing. If you're buying a new bottle, you are looked into a different way, not as rich or what you call the person who is having, who are well off. The people who are recycling, they are seen in a much better fashion. You see all the big businessmen, yeah, they don't spend too much of money on their how they dress, what type of expensive clothing and all, right? T-shirt and a trouser, that is sufficient enough, right? So that's the intention and the way the society is moving forward. Now the solution is linear economy, correct? No. Linear economy was single line economy, right? This is again the repeat of the first or second or third lecture. Reuse economy, yeah. A step advancing from linear economy to reuse economy, that means you are just recycling it, yeah. And then now to circular economy. So that means you start making a circle. Linear, raw material production, use and waste. Reuse, raw material production, use, and then again reuse it. Lot of places we do use reuse. For example, the plastic trays which are used for transporting raw material, same type of trays are used again and again till the time they expire, yeah. Whereas circular economy, even if it is end of life, what happens after end of life, yeah. So that is again important, where we discuss some of the project where things are biodegraded, and then how that can be broken down into individual component, can use for different applications. So what are the challenges? when it comes to food packaging. So, if we pack food product instead of having a PET, if we pack it in LDPE for example, yeah, if this water is packed in LDPE, what problem happens? PET is an engineered plastic, yeah. What happens if you pack water in paper container, yeah, or if you pack a food in a paper container as opposed to a plastic container? What are the challenges? Same challenges will stand when it comes to food packaging. First one is how we can reduce the food waste if we are not packing in a material which extends its shelf life, yeah. Second one is the food safety issues. Have you ever noticed when we put lipid product or oil or a pickle in LDPE packet, you see all the oils coming on top of it, yeah. Whereas when you put a water, it doesn't come out. Why it is so? Anyone? There are some people who are working on packaging, and especially those who are doing masters, they would have studied all this, yeah. Yeah. Say anything, that don't worry about that. Exam is already over, you won't lose marks. Yeah, good.
Migration of oil through the packaging material.
True. Migration, because it is LDPE full form is linear density polyethylene, yeah. It is long chain carbon polymer. So, oil is also a carbon polymer, it diffuses one end, comes out the other, yeah. Whereas in PET bottle, oil doesn't come out because that is an engineered plastic, yeah. So, that means their permeability becomes important, whereas when you put a water which is a smaller molecule, it doesn't come out because its only vapor transmission rate is much different, yeah. So, all those packaging material, whatever you use it for paper one or to replace plastic. So, what the best important application here is how we solve the food safety issues, reducing the food waste, employing different technology and improving the shelf life, and also replacing the packaging. So, packaging becomes very, very important for any of the processing system or ingredient technology we develop, yeah. If they have a higher amount of water vapor transmission rate, it becomes soggy, yeah. Talk about solid product itself. Instead of laminate, if you pack a cheese into a biodegradable packaging material, it will start spoiling because of their vibration, because of their migration rate. So, how do we improve their barrier properties, yeah. So, that is so. Now, coming back to the core one, these were all the problems. That is why I was going bit daily. What are the problem? What are the challenges? What are the solutions? So, that is literature is full of that. We all know the challenge, we all know the potential solution, but how do we achieve it? Before going into that, whether you make a product or ingredient, we pack into a specific type of packaging material. In the beginning, it was written 2 packaging materials, right? The 2 types of one is a packaging film, yeah. Thin flexible layer of material used to wrap, cover product for protection, preservation and presentation, yeah. Presentation, when you give a gift, looks good. Preservation, to avoid the barrier properties, yeah, as well as the protection, yeah. Preservation against barrier properties for microorganisms and protection to the food, whether it is the structure of the product or protection against insect microorganisms or so. For food, pharmaceutical, consumer goods and electronics, we know all the food packaging materials are used for different purposes. So, there is nothing new in it. Plastic, aluminum foils, or now biodegradable material like cellulose or PLA, yeah. So, chitin, chitosan films are also made. So, how we make a packaging film? Anybody, any one of you know how we make a packaging film? Or how many of you have made biodegradable polymer? Or have you seen in any lab how they make biodegradable polymeric material?
Generally in laboratory scale, we used to go for casting method.
Solvent casting method.
Solvent casting method. Appropriate solvent, like in case of polylactic acid, we have to go for chloroform, which is a non-polar solvent. Like in case of chitin and chitosan, we have to go for polar compounds. Water or acidified water with 2 or 3% of acetic acid. And that we have to completely solubilize the chitin powder or PLA pellets in the appropriate solvent, and we have to pour it in some petri plates or some ceramic dish. After we have to let it be for some time. We have to let the solvent to evaporate completely, and we have to maintain the RH and other conditions and surrounding parameters. After that, we can peel off the packaging materials. It will be clear and good for use.
Okay. Now, when we are doing solvent casting, when you use a chloroform, it contains chlorine, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
What is the chloroform formula?
CHCl3.
CH?
Cl3.
CHCl3, right?
Yes.
So, again we avoided a PVC, and then if you make a casting film, that is only to demonstrate that films can be made. Yeah, there is a long story after that, is like how do you make into the film. Yeah, think the unit operation what you mentioned is perfectly correct, whatever way films are made, right? But think what all the chemicals are used. Yeah, once you make a film, how much area you need to dry it and amount of packaging material used is already you have seen couple of 1,000 tons of packaging material is used, right? So, how we make it at a commercial scale and to make it viable. Even though if you make a chitosan film or PLA film, still they have not the same properties what are there for the packaging material which we are trying to replace. Yeah, that is correct way of making a packaging film. There are multiple other methods, some you will see it over here. I have a very short video. Other than a sheet is a thicker and more rigid used material for sturdy products or components. Yeah, I will give you one very simple example. Have you seen, if you buy any of the toys, they have some of the thermocols, small balls are there made up of thermocols, right? So, how can we replace that? I gave that idea to one of the guy, and they thought, oh wow, that should be used easily. You make 2% xanthan gum or 2% alginate solution. Yeah, infuse air into it and dry it. If you freeze dry it, then what will happen? You will get sponge balls. Yeah, and that is an perfect alternative to plastic. That can be easily used when it comes to toys for kids. You know, when you use a foam, because they start consuming it. So, if you have biological origin, that makes things easier. You have seen xanthan gum. Yeah, so if you make a xanthan gum solution, it becomes very thick, and if you dry that one, it becomes very fluffy. Yeah, that is one of the perfect one for using it for certain material. Obviously, it won't have that particular strength what you see it in thermocol, but thermocol can be replaced in such manner. We were able to replace refrigerants, chlorofluorocarbons with new refrigerants. So, same way all these packaging material can be replaced by looking at the logic how and what are the biomass and how it can be replaced. Previously all the equipments were coming in with the straws. Yeah, all the straw and everything was used. Now we replaced it with polyurethane, that means you expandable foams like chemical foams. So, how those things can be replaced by using this type of plastic. And other alternative is whatever the plastic material is, how we can recycle it and where we can use it. Yeah, we can use it for the places which remains there forever. Yeah, like electric pole made up of steel or wood. Yeah, if those are made up of a single metal and covered with the plastic, all the recycled plastic, that is another one, it will be shock proofer. So, there are number of places how things are getting replaced slowly and changing stuff. Yeah, so that is and the sheet is, so this is a packaging film and a sheet. So, what is the difference between film and a sheet? Thickness, flexible and pliable, wrapping, lamination, sealing, food packaging, shrink wrap, like when you do vacuum packing and all those stuff. Plastic metals or biodegradable, it can be even a plastic. What type of metal? Example, aluminum foil. Yeah, or biodegradable material. Often comes in a roll, you know, packaging roll, you know, it's a thin film, we put it around the food and sell it in a market, and everywhere you will see it. Sheet, thicker, flexible, structural, plastic, metal or glass sheet, typically sold in a flat sheet or in form of panels. Yeah, so these are all what you can find easily in a textbook. So, what are the proposed solution as of today? One is bioplastics. Yeah, I did not write a word here biofilm or biosheet to avoid confusion with biofilm what we studied other day. Yeah, the plastics derived from renewable biomass like corn starch, sugarcane Are you aware of any other bioplastic which has been used to date or been proposed or work is carried out? Any other? Alginates, chitosan, they are there. So, we'll eco-friendly, lower carbon footprint and biodegradable option. That means you are not exporting and transporting film from one place to another one, and then to recycling, that is lowering carbon footprint. That means you are not keep buying a new and new. So, that means recycling becomes an important integral part of it. Versatile application can replace conventional plastic in packaging, agriculture and more. That means you can use it for different applications. Yeah. Benefits we all know. Sustainability, we reduce waste of the plastic by using biodegradable or compostable options. Circular economy, supporting recycling and reuse. Yeah. And reduction is eliminated from here, because that comes into sustainability part of it, right. Consumer preference, growing demand for green packaging, but only for those consumer who are bit more environment cautious. Yeah, they put environment first, economy second. Those who could put economy first, environment second, for them consumer preference is different. Yeah. How many of you read a label made from recycled packaging? How many of you read label that packaging is compostable packaging material, an expensive product? €1 burger or €1 samosa packed in a plastic, or not €1, sorry, 100 rupee samosa packed in LDPE, or 150 rupee samosa packed in biodegradable compostable film. You will go for 100 rupees. Yeah. So, till the time consumer mentality is changed. So, that is why to change the perception of consumer, you instigate media and other places to solve that type of issues. Yeah. So, that is why these are the 4 key benefits and of using it. Nowadays certain products are having premium prices just because they have environmental credentials attached to it. Now, how do we prepare film? One is by solvent casting method, as your colleague mentioned how we use solvent casting. You have a biomaterial, you add a plasticizer, you add a solvent, you spread it, yeah, remove the solvent, leave it for drying, either on a phosphoric system drying, or just normal hot air drying, or just leave it in environment, and then you get film. Other one is by using extrusion. The same extruder what you saw in making food and a feed is also used for making film. And other one is, I never named this one. What do you think of this? Heating, pre-stretching, mold on, vacuum on. This is one of the form called thermoforms. How many of you have seen the wooden spoons, yeah, wooden plates or leaf plates? So, that is made up of leaves. Very nice sturdy plates are made, obviously depending upon how they have been stitched by hand or by using a glue or so. Very same residue, leftover biomass can be used straight for making these type of packaging materials, yeah, and they can be very sturdy as well. There was some bit of work was carried out to make the plastic block as hard as anything by using mushroom mycelium. You have a biomass, yeah, add mycelium, and that mycelium is added into preformed container, allow it to grow, and it forms the whole space with the mycelium. Take it out, you dry it, it will be as hard as a stone, yeah. Though it will be water soluble, but remember that it will be water soluble only at very high temperature or more exposure to water, yeah. So, that type of material can be used for replacing plastics in chairs and otherwise making those building blocks, yeah. So, this is the way how we can replace those type of material which can create environmental issues. So, this is basically a thermoform, collectively thermoform, and whatever residue is left over You heat it, give a shape, dry it. Do simple thing by get a starch or a soup mix or even a rice slurry, you dry it, it becomes like a like a stone. Same way you can cast it. So, either you stretch it after heating, and if seaweed is used, if you go again, lot of companies started using seaweed as a seaweed leather, seaweed as a packaging material. Lot of different businesses are already started. Clothing material made up of biodegradable packaging material. There is one of those biodegradable packaging material is used in, there was a problem from one of the country in China or one of the city in China, where you go in a specific type of clothes, and when you go to that particular place, you have to leave your clothes and come back. Lot of places in temples we do the same. Yeah, if those type of clothes are made up of biodegradable packaging material and then goes over there, and then you discard it, so it will degrade on its own, rather than you don't have to have a disposal problem. So, we have to see where all we can use it. To your surprise, in most of the hospitals in Ireland, they removed plastics altogether. Everything from lab coat to the containers, everything gone as a biodegradable. Packaging plates, packaging spoons, no plastic, because there is not requirement, you know, it's only for serving food, you don't need a metal plate, and it solves the problem of contamination, washing and all those things. Single use, paper plates, person eats, puts in a bin, and then you use it for your bioenergy part of it, because it's having biodegradable packaging material. So, all these things can be used for a niche applications. Parties, you know, like we all get paper spoon and plastic spoons, instead of plastic spoon, paper spoon to drink this. Most of the straws, plastic is gone. Only in remote villages you will see still the same plastic straw. Every other place you will see the paper straw. Nothing wrong in that one, because you use it only once. Yeah. So, that is again by heating, by pre-stretching, mold on, vacuum on, different way how you can make that type of container, and they are pretty much successful as well in using those. So, how we make a packaging film, this is a detailed description of this here and the next few slides, and then followed by a video. Selection of a biopolymer, that is first and foremost. Second, preparation of biopolymer and solution, that is again your solvent, correct. Incorporation of additives, mixing so that you have uniform distribution of it, casting, pouring or spreading, peeling, conditioning, yeah. You characterize it and then you store it, yeah. This is the way how you make a film by solvent casting method, yeah. So, I am not going to go into the detail of it, yeah, it is like too wordy, but important thing: selection, starch, chitosan, alginate, gelatin, PLA or any other biomaterial. Almost every biomaterial which is having a larger molecular weight can be used for that purpose, yeah. Higher molecular weight protein can also be used for making the film, but you need a larger molecular weight. That is the reason why PLA, lactic acid is smaller molecular weight, yeah, within 150 to 200, but PLA, that means poly, that means you make a lactic acid combined together to have a larger biomass. So, large molecular weight compound can be used for making polymer. Then you get a solution, chitosan in acidic solution, acetic acid, yeah. Again, when you are making biopolymer, so you eliminate the usage of chemicals as well. So, chitin, acetic acid soluble. Gelatin, we did discuss for the fish, that is again soluble in gelatinous material, and some places big fish which are harvested, their scales are removed on the beach, the big scales, and these scales are used directly for making lot of I keep missing the word, ornamental ones, or by making lamp shades, another one. So, those are the material which can again be used for a plastic, yeah. And then starch, heat and dissolve in a water. So, depending upon the biopolymer you prepare a solution. Then you add additives, glycerol, sorbitol and different to improve the flexibility of it, yeah. Then other additives, antimicrobial colorant depending upon the need. Some films were prepared by one of the creative person where added microalgae at different strength coming from non-food application to color the film, because most of the biopolymeric films, they are brownish and the color are not transparent. to make it green, blue and different color packaging material, right. Mixing and then you cast it. Yeah. So, this is method is modified based on the conventional casting method what you exactly mentioned about solvent casting, and to eliminate all those chemicals, because the question were asked, that is very good, you are making a biopolymeric film from chitosan, but still using those chemicals which are not green. Yeah. Then you dry it, whether in drying oven or any specific chamber with a slow drying, followed by solvent evaporation, then you peel and you condition it. Yeah. It's how many of you have seen conditioning of potatoes and onions? When we harvest a potato, at times the potato is left in a field and only the shoots are dismantled. Yeah. Or even onion, when you are about to harvest, you press all the onions, plants, you just crush it so that it is still attached to the tuber, but it is there, is completely crushed, just because so that the peel of that is completely conditioned and become hardened. Yeah. That is why you see when you buy a potato, you just rub it, peel is gone. Some potato you have to use a peeler. So, that is all the conditioning is also carried out in these type of film, because of environment and all, its strength changes. Then what you do once you make a film, you characterize it. Yeah. Without characterization, without looking its property, you cannot suggest for alternative for existing packaging material. Yeah. Majority of this biopolymer, they have very bad water barrier properties. So, where we can use them? If you buy a noodle pack, yeah, if you buy a noodle packet ready to eat cup and noodle, you will see there is small sachet inside, yeah, having oil in it, olive oil or some masala. So, if you use that particular with the biodegradable packaging material, if it is sealed properly, the moment you add water, that packaging material will be dissolved, then you can consume along with it, right. So, whether it is a starch or chitosan, that is fine. Yeah. Then again comes in the origin of the ingredient. Yeah. So, that is one is solvent casting. Now, you see this particular film how it is casted. Yeah. This is made up of, and he is a former master student of this place and doing PhD over there. Yeah. So, you will see it simple mixing. Yeah. This is chitosan and film is made and you get completely transparent film. Yeah. It's as simple as that. This is only to show how you can make that particular film by solvent casting method. Yeah. So, rest your colleague explained and I went through all the description. Now you see this is a solvent casting method by using a carrageenan and pectin. Pectin from apple pomace, and this is the already gone as an IP, and we already made a film with extrusion and all, which you will see in coming slide. Yeah. So, this is a film made up of combination of pectin and carrageenan, and here the carrageenan was obtained from Chondrus crispus, and that particular carrageenan was not purified. Advantage we had with the calcium and the sodium and all those minerals present in that particular carrageenan blended with the pectin made the best film having a very good properties, and then shelf life studies were carried out on a specific product. Yeah. Initially we presumed that this will have large amount of like very bad water barrier properties, and the sealability was an issue, but sealability can be sorted out by using some other technique, and then you can store this is oil, bread or a biscuit. Yeah. Even if you consume along with the packaging material is perfect. Yeah. So, this is a clear cut example by using a solvent casting, and the solvent used here is acetic acid. Yeah. That is again eco one. So, that means completely green. Now, sorry, second one is compounding and making your film casting. Biopolymer, plasticizer added, natural plasticizer, mixing, soaking, cross linking agent. There are certain time you add cross linking to improve the barrier properties and strength, blending, compounding using twin screw extruder to make a pellet. In order to make a big films, what you need is pellets. Pellet is very important to make it before making a film. Yeah, it is not always you take a dry powder, mix it and add a solvent, then dry it. So again, lot of water. So you have to make a pellet for making film. How many of you have seen how these PET bottles are made, or how these LDPE packaging materials are made? You just buy those pellets, the round color pellets of any plastic material that is heated up in a liquid form, and then they are just casted. Yeah, whether by making a film or so, and you get preformed bottles of thick sheets, and then you blow in a water, that's injection, blow hot air, and you give any shape whatever you want. Yeah. So the cap of the bottle, what you see, the top of the cap of the bottle, the same thickness of the material is at the bottom. You put a dye and blow a hot air into it, and it takes that shape. Same way big drums are made, same way big sheets are made. That's the difference between films and a sheet. And then you cast by extrusion. Here again, same biopolymer, plasticizer, mixing biopolymer and plasticizer, depending upon what type of properties you need, you alter it, and then mixing biopolymer, plasticizer with different blenders, soaking and hydration if it is necessary, and then cross-linking agent to cross-link so that you have a better properties. And what type of agents to be used, that is important. In some cases urea is there for nitrogen, glutaraldehyde, or certain natural cross-linking agents are used depending upon where you are going to use that particular packaging material. So if you will see this, video, this is just extruder setting. I will just go through this one first. Compounding a plastic biopolymer, preparing the pellet, drying the pellet, and then goes for film. And these films are all made from seaweed ones. I haven't put examples from other applications. There are a lot of other biomasses, starch and all can be made, and you will see lot of literature on it. And then this is a sort of extruder to make a pellet. Yeah, this is having a different temperature zone, and this what you will see. I am muting it because in the last somebody will say hato, and then you see these are the pellets which are made. Yeah. So these are the pellet made up of those particular bead, and these pellets are the one which are used for making film by extrusion. You can see different cooling system, and this is the commercially how these pellets are made by using extruder. Yeah. So we'll see once again. You'll see over here where the pellets were. Sorry. It was somewhere, yeah, somewhere here. You'll see all these pellets are collected here. That means the string is made something like an extruded snack, and then you just cut it, so it makes round pellet or squared pellet. So this is pelletization. So examples: blending of pectin with different polymeric material, temperature profile 90, 90, 90, 90, 90, 90, 85. Yeah. So these are different temperature profiles are set depending upon the material. So if you are making a pellet from complete plastic material, this temperature is bit higher to make a pellet. Yeah. So same way recycling, all these plastic material can be melted and then to make a pellet and then to make a film again. Yeah. Recycling does not mean that you use the same bottle again and again. That is reuse. Yeah. Recycling, if you remember when we are talking about recycling, upcycling and downcycling, we said to create a material of similar or lower properties. So this bottle is melted, something like a wax in all the wax candle is left over biomass, you just melt everything and then make your own candle. Yeah. Very similar way, this plastic is melted with higher different temperature profile, made into a string, and is just chopped, and that plastic can be used to make a film or a sheet. Yeah. Now film casting, how you make a film. Now here you see this is all these film rolls are prepared from biodegradable packaging material. This is a video, I will run it in a minute. Load the melt extruded biopolymer, that means all those pellet and bioplastic component into the extruder for making a film. Yeah. then you set up your screw speed, heating zone, and these are the one which has to be optimized. Yeah, it is not just there is single temperature profile for all the plastic. You make a film, you cool it, and you collect and do final adjustment. If you will see over here, because I hate describing the methods, to me it becomes very boring. So that's why if you will see the video, this is the way the films and sheets are made. If you see, these are two different components. As I said, we made it from two different mixtures. Making the pellets here, one side is a pectin pellet, another side is a carrageenan pellet over here. These two are extruded through in a form of material and then goes to sheeting, yeah, and you make a sheet rolls. So this is an pilot scale unit to prove the concept to make a film, and then this roll can be as big as we want and larger volume. So you make a film, yeah. So it is not that complicated to make. In my opinion, making a film by using a solvent casting method is more challenging in a lab than in a larger scale. Yeah, do you agree by seeing this too? Yeah, you have to mix it and then you have to blend it and pour it and then leave it for drying, and even if it's not uniform pouring is there, everything becomes difficult. So over here it's very simple. So you make a palette and then to cast a film and then you move forward. Yeah, now this is another one. So this is same way how we can make a full film string. Pallets done. This is palette and then to use it to make film. Yeah. Is done carried out by Monzural, who did masters MTech from here, and he just, you know him, yeah, and he just finished his PhD and going to continue over there. So that is the way we made a film, and this is IP which has been protected with the formulation of pectin from apple pomace plus carrageenan, yeah, and that film is perfect. Even if you eat it, that's fine. You are getting your polysaccharides into your consumption system, yeah, and the chemical used all are greener. There are no chemical used which cannot be consumed, yeah. Now again, this is the properties. I will quickly go through these. One is your first and foremost is the tensile strength, yeah, how much strength it's having. Elastic modulus, yeah, that is maximum stress that can withstand while stretching before it breaks, yeah. Second one, elasticity, stiffness of a material, how flexible it can be or how elastic it is. Elongation at break, yeah, that means at breaking point to which material can stretch before it breaks a percentage of its original length, yeah. Flexural strength, ability of material to resist deformation upon bending, yeah. If you are putting any material into it, if you blend it, it should not be packaging material, should crack, yeah. So that is all related to characterization of film. Impact resistance, if you are giving an impact, how resistant it is, and all these are compared against conventional packaging material. Thickness of the film, yeah. Tear strength, how much strength it needs to tear it apart. Barrier properties, how strong its barrier properties against water and oil and other nutrients. Antimicrobial efficacy. Now, very same film we added laminarin and a fucoidin, and to see antimicrobial properties and to see how these fucoidin or laminarin or any antimicrobial agent can penetrate into the product. Take for example, if you have rosemary extract or any bioactive extract incorporated into, or a garlic extract is incorporated into these films, and you pack your butter or a cheese, yeah, over time some of those natural antimicrobial will come into the product, and product will have that ingredient which can be used directly for consumption, yeah. That is ready to prepare, ready to eat product, then you do not have to add those flavoring agent, yeah, or coloring agent. Then you have antimicrobial, there are some standard methods, that is minimum inhibitory concentration required, and in order to test those concentration you have to do a test by using a model food solution. For example, you take a film, and if you are trying to use it in a product whose pH is 3.5, you make a model food, add that film and see how much bioactive has gone into that model food. Yeah. So, all these area how we make antimicrobial capacity of the film, that is again the release rate, you measure release kinetics and all those element, and strength of packaging material. Now, this is again important, biodegradability. How do we study biodegradability? Yeah, that we bury it in a soil or in a specific lab to say how long will it take to completely degrade. Yeah, that is also important if you are using a microbial degradation to make biofertilizer out of those films. Yeah. So, one of the challenging project what we have at the moment, how we can use the film for biodegradation. There is a company that is called, you can look into them on on a website. They make they have a system where they have their own microbial culture to make biofertilizer. The problem with the biofertilizer is if you are using any material into it, the microbial load of that biofertilizer may disturb the ecosystem or microbiome of a soil, and that microorganism can also impact the microbial profile of that particular food product. Some of the E. coli which comes from an environment, some E. coli comes from the dirty water usage, that is also another issue. Yeah. So, in order to do that, all the biodegradable material used in hospitals, the chances of clinical microorganisms or harmful microorganisms is huge. So, what was done, we use plasma technologies to inactivate that microorganisms at the biomass level, raw material, then the biofertilizer what we obtain, there also we use a plasma, so that there is no microbial profile, and in doing so some of the nitrogen level is added into that biofertilizer, because hospitals, even though they were using everything biodegradable, but still they were incinerating it because of all those clinical pathogenic microorganisms which may be there attached with hospital waste. Yeah. So, how we can use the technology to introduce circularity. Yeah. So, this is one, and then standard test method to determine anaerobic biodegradation of plastic material using a controlled composting. So, the experiments or research is not only going on biodegradation of the polymeric material or biodegradable material, but also on existing plastic, how we can degrade LDPE at much faster rate. Yeah. We will have to see one of those Japanese patent and research carried out on using a specific type of insect which consumes plastic. That was to do with the beeswax. Waxes, the beeswax, the insect which consumes beeswax can also consume some of those LDPE or plastic material. But the challenge there is it might create a bioplastic if it is not completely digested. That could be a way how we can improve, or you can use the microorganisms to degrade normal polyethylene or LDPE, HDPE or all those type of plastic material. That is also one area how we use a technology to reduce it, to degrade it, or to make into monomer, and that monomer can be reused directly. Yeah, that is another way. Same biodegradable film, the moment we added into ultrasonic system, gave a blast of it, and everything was fractured back into the starch and other plasticizers. That is another way of, instead of degrading it, you can reuse the same biopolymer. That is, once you make a packaging material, pack the food product, and how that biodegradable or compostable material can be reused again. Yeah. So, incubation conditions, CO2, O2 monitoring, airflow, moisture composting condition, and you record how it is biodegradable. Yeah. That, and then based on that you decide what is the best polymeric material or biodegradable packaging material. So, another area of research, when you make a solvent casting method, do the biodegradation study or compostable study to prove that point. So far majority of the research activity stops at making a film and analyzing the property. Yeah. Then if you make a film or get those biodegradable film and do the composting of it to see what is the composting condition required, so that you quickly degrade them, or can we reuse those type of, that is reverse engineering, how that film is prepared, get the ingredient, and then those ingredients can be used again. Yeah. Any questions so far? Okay. Now you will see simple case study how it is made in a simple drawing and a story. Yeah. And then you get pectin sodium alginate. Even alginate was used, but the best film what we obtained was a carrageenan, and we got a good amount of protein also from Chondrus crispus. Yeah. And this is making from pectin and sodium alginate film, and all these calciums and calcium chloride used mainly for cross linking. And where did you get this calcium chloride? In chitosan production. Yeah. By using HCl. Yeah, calcium chloride, and that is one of those cross linking ones, so improve the strength of the material. Yeah. And same thing can also be casted with extruder. Now this is one of those crux how we can use a chitosan for making a film. Chitin deacetylization, we make chitosan. Yeah. You got the chitosan, chitosan in demonstration. Once chitosan is there, either you use a solvent casting method, what you have seen it, or you use the extrusion system. You have seen that extrusion, melt processing, that means all the chitosan melted in a form of specific polymer, you add whatever additives you want, make a bead, and then you extrude the film, make using this particular extrusion method, and then you analyze all the properties. Thermal properties, how do we analyze it? Dinesh Singh Chauhan, DSC, yeah, correct, and TGA, yeah, all those technologies are used. Barrier properties, mechanical properties, rheological properties, that is again rheology is not that viscosity and all, other rheological properties, surface, antioxidant, antimicrobial, and then you do shelf life studies on a food product before you propose it can be used. Yeah. So if you use a chitosan film for seafood, perfect. Animal origin or marine origin goes to the marine origin. Yeah. Starch for starch product. Yeah. If suppose there are some reservation on the social side of it. Yeah. So this is how we can make film. Once film is made, what is the next? How do we pack it? Yeah. So some of those equipment you would have seen it. Yeah. If you would have visited any of the factory. This is the most common one which is there in every lab, that is can sealer, yeah, made of tin, you make a can, that's fine. An internal coating is made up of specific material to avoid detinning and different effects. So can is commonly used. One is automatic tray sealer. So the problem comes in these type of tray sealer if the bottom material is made up of PET or polypropylene, and the top one is LDPE. So recyclability becomes challenging. Yeah. So if we have a bottom plate of polypropylene as is, and the top film is made up of biodegradable packaging film, yeah, it solves the problem. Yeah. So then you don't have to segregate it, one will degrade on its own and other one can be recycled. Yeah. And then is semi-automatic fill seal machine, that is small cups, you know, you get small cups for having chutney and sauce and all. So these are again filling machine. This is the thermoformer what I was talking about. That means by using a pressure you can make these type of cups or thermoformers. Vertical filling machine, have you heard about FFS? Form, fill and seal machine. It's very similar to that one where you can control the portion of it. Ingredients, products, whatever you obtain. Horizontal flow wrapping machine, yeah, this is just an example. We have all those ones to test the packaging material, normal packaging material as well as biodegradable packaging material. And this is semi-automatic tray sealer. As you can see, this is a simple tray, and then you put a film on top of it and seal it. Yeah, and then you measure also the sealing strength and other stuff. Yeah. So these are different types of packaging material which can be used, but do remember You have seen this type of egg boxes. No, most of those now plastic has come up, but the cardboard packaging material, compostable and biodegradable. Remember these two words and these two symbols which are used for these two type of packaging material. Yeah, I know you are not going to give any exams, but this is important to know what symbol is used for what purpose. Yeah, dosing system, extruder you have seen just now, large scale extruder, and very same extruder was used to make alternative protein. Yeah, and this is also the extruder to make pellet. For extrusion melt one, you have first to make a pellet and then to make a film. Yeah, and extrusion technology remains the same, where you use it for making alternative snacks or protein or to make polymeric materials. Yeah, the only problem is if you are using it for polymeric material, then to move on to the food, cleaning is a big issue, because plastics are melted at high temperature, whereas food is at lower temperature. So, that cleaning becomes an issue. So, that is these are some of the equipment which are associated with packaging. And then extrusion system, you have already seen the video related to this. How do we do it? This could have 2 arms or 3 arms, A ingredient, B ingredient, 3 ingredient, all they need a different melting profile or melting temperature. If they do not need, that is fine. Oops, they are mixed together with the temperature zone and you make a pellets. Yeah, and then you can just control whatever temperature you need it, and then once you get a pellet goes into this particular hopper just like a flour, and then you make a film, or you use different type of film casting machines. Any question related to packaging and some of the properties? What I did not cover, how do you analyze all those ingredients, proteins and all those things? You are very well aware of it, and you are also very well aware that you have done some of those demonstration with NMR and FTIR and those equipment. Yeah. So, any questions so far? No? So, we remember one thing, raw material. Yeah, how do we stabilize it? Processing technologies to obtain ingredients. Yeah, or what a horrible writing it is, ingredients, food or feed. Yeah, once you obtain these ingredient, or I will put it as a biopolymer, that is packaging material, and then you use this packaging material to pack those product, and then product is finished. Yeah. So, we will have one lecture is on co-creation. When you make a product, how you involve people. It is not that you cook a food or I cook a food, I say eat, it is very good for you. The product has to be prepared based on consumer requirement. Yeah, we will cover that, and then will be the now onwards will be all soft skills. So, all this heavy duty text and processes will be gone, and if you have any question, just have a note of it and we can discuss it again. Yeah.